Move,
100
breathe. What was it? Move, breathe, and
live.
eat. Eat, move, breathe.
Australian-born American. Oh wait, she's 58. What is she up to?
Big in the 90s. Big in the 90s.
Well, it's because she had that weird Sinead O'Connor haircut.
She did. She looked crazy.
I
remember as a kid watching her bring a big fat block on stage and drawing a frowny face on it.
She appeared in Diagnosis Murder episode Murder by the Book.
I like the breathe part. I always thought that was good advice.
Yes, breathing is good advice.
As of 2012, she was living in a self-described Earth ship in New Mexico.
Nice.
Oh, so she's living in a dirt mound.
Let me guess. Is it Taos?
I don't know.
New Mexico? I bet it is.
It'd be great if she
I was
had
going to live in an Earth ship. I'd live in.
Earth ships sound great, but honestly, I don't think I would last a month in one. Unless although if I was totally impoverished and in a war zone, that might change.
Yeah. Well, then you'd just take anything.
Yeah. Exactly.
Susan Powder appeared on the first and last episode of Space Ghost Coast to Coast.
Oh.
No kidding.
Yeah.
So she saw Ted Ghoststole from start to finish.
Although it was clips from the same interview.
Oh.
They just
used the same. Oh, okay. So she really appeared on the first, and then they replayed it.
She appeared on the first one, and then they played clips from that interview were played. Oh, I guess it was probably just clips from the show. So,
Tom, just real quick, I might not show this Gawker story just because the sidebar story has an F fest in the title. I'm not sure if that would be.
Has a
an alleged F fest.
Yeah.
And you can't get it out of there, huh? Can you find another?
I can find another Gawker story.
Yeah,
totally.
Find another Gawker going down story.
Down.
Never mind.
Gawker going down.
All right, you guys ready? Then, do you need a minute to find that, or are you good?
Yeah. Oh crap! All right. Yeah, we're already at 30. I'll not eat this next carrot.
Hold off. Hold that carrot. Here we go.
The Daily Tech News Show is brought to you by listeners like me. To find out more, visit dailytechnewsshow.com/support.
This is the Daily Tech News for Thursday, August 18th, 2016. I'm Tom Merritt. Joining me as he does most Thursdays, Mr. Justin Robert Young is back in the house. Or you're in your house.
What is up, Thomas?
Let me tell you, we are going to talk about Uber. Now, there have been two things that Justin and I have talked about a lot on this show.
Yeah.
One is self-driving cars.
Yeah.
Particularly around Tesla Autopilot.
Mm-hmm.
We have also talked about Ubers. Sometimes it's described as arrogance. Sometimes it's described as boldness. But their ability to just charge on in and damn the consequences.
Yeah. And now we have a little bit of a synthesis of that story into each other.
Yeah. The short version is Uber says if you're in downtown Pittsburgh, you'll be able to be ferried around in a self-driving car by the end of the month. By the end of the month. I was taunting Ford for sort of implying that they'd have fully autonomous cars in 5 years. Now, Uber is not saying fully autonomous, but self-driving by the end of the month. That's
pretty crazy.
Crazy.
Get ready for some really terrible Yinzer accent impressions when we get to that story.
Fantastic. Gawker.com, the website, will shut down next week. Just Gawker.com, not the other properties. So IO9's fine, Lifehacker's fine, Jezebel, Gizmodo, they're all fine. The editors of Gawker.com will be reassigned to other Gawker properties or somewhere within the new parent company, Univision. Now, here are some more top stories. T-Mobile USA expanded its unlimited plans Thursday and will focus on those over rate limited plans going forward. So nobody will be able to get a 6 gigabyte plan, 10 gigabyte plan. If you're new to T-Mobile, it's unlimited for everyone. Plans start September 6th at $70 a month, limiting video to standard definition. If you want to get full definition over your cellular connection, you got to pay $25 a month for that. You can tether unlimited as well, as long as you don't mind tethering at edge speeds, 2G speeds for your tethering, or You can spend $15 a month to get 5 gigabytes of LTE tethering. Tablets can be added for $20 a month, and T-Mobile will continue to deprioritize the top 3% of its data users once they pass 26 gigabytes of data in a month. Sprint also announcing an unlimited plan launching Friday at $60 a month. They will not allow any tethering with that plan. It's just unlimited on your cell phone. Of course, AT&T does unlimited if you subscribe to DirecTV. So in a way, Justin, 3 of the 4 major carriers in the U.S. now doing unlimited again.
The long, strange trip that we've gone since the launch of the iPhone, when I became an AT&T customer from Verizon, and have my all-you-can-eat data plan, which, as we traversed through the smartphone universe, eventually were chipped away and broken and offered incentives for people to get off those filthy, dirty, all-you-can-eat data plans. And now here we are. We are back where T-Mobile and Sprint are offering them, although with some fairly nasty fine print, as has been pointed out and you enumerated there in the bit. You got to wonder whether or not AT&T, Verizon follow suit and eventually start to roll out their own. I mean, they already have. I guess AT&T has it for DirecTV customers, right?
Yeah, exactly. So the thing we've talked about multiple times on this show is this has never been about congestion management. If it was about congestion management, you get charged extra for priority access when your local cell or your local tower was backed up, and that would only happen at certain times of day. You wouldn't have an overall data cap because most of the studies have shown they do nothing to ease congestion. This is all about figuring out how to monetize this. And what T-Mobile has done has figured out a very clever way to continue to monetize you. In fact, they're kind of raising your price, in effect, if you want to get a comparable plan to what they have now. But it sounds like you're getting more for cheaper. So you can get unlimited data for $70 a month. Now, they already had unlimited data. That's kind of the other thing that's getting ignored here. I have an unlimited T-Mobile data plan. They kind of tried to talk me out of it when I signed up. Yeah. They're like, don't you really want to be on these other plans? I was like, no, I really want to be on unlimited. They didn't even offer unlimited in the family plans. They only offered it on the solo plans. My unlimited plan is $80 a month, but it gives me LTE tethering at 7 gigabytes a month. So it's actually cheaper than the $85 that I would pay for 2 gigabytes less of LTE tethering.
So then what is the deal here? I mean, are we seeing a pivot away for T-Mobile from the idea that got a lot of net neutrality people a little worked up of zero rating certain services?
Yeah. The Binge Unlimited. I feel like that was a Trojan horse to get people in the mindset to do this transition, because now it's like Binge Unlimited at standard def got people used to that. Like, oh yeah, it's standard def, but it's unlimited. And now they're like, now everything is unlimited. And we'll even let you pay to get the high definition stuff if you want.
And that's really what this is about, is bringing people to a level in which they will pay for the higher quality content. That it's not putting a gate around the content itself, it's putting a gate around the fidelity of the content.
Yeah, and you know, the fact that they're trying to make it sound like you shouldn't have to think about your plan. But as soon as you put a limit on my tethering, you've made me think about my plan. Because 2G don't work.
No, I mean, it certainly doesn't. And I can understand for them the idea that on an unlimited plan, you don't want to necessarily take on the burden of the entire home's telecom usage, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think that it's just curious that we're back here. That's all I'll say.
T-Mobile's been doing great things. I actually very much am satisfied by their service. I've had nothing but trouble trying to get them not to charge me for a phone that I returned to them, but that's a separate matter and probably a one-off. For the most part, I'm satisfied with them. And most of the things they've done, while maybe arguably a net neutrality violation, have always been consumer friendly. This is the first time I'm looking very closely at one of their plans and going, I'm not sure this is actually a net positive for their customers.
Well, especially for a company that wants to brand themselves the uncarrier, it just kind of feels like a regular telecom move.
Yeah,
right?
more bait than switch.
Yeah, here's a plan that has a lot of other little words at the bottom that will probably negate your enjoyment for what we're selling you on.
Very possibly.
Twitter has suspended 235,000 accounts for violating policies on the promotion of terrorism. Twitter says daily suspensions are up 80% since last year. Twitter said it has benefited from the use of spam fighting tools and automatically detecting problem accounts. A third of the recent suspensions were identified automatically. Twitter also announced that all users can access a tool for limiting notifications from people you follow and an option to turn on a quality filter to eliminate junk or duplicate posts. Now, these had previously only been available to verified users.
Yeah. So this is going to continue to stoke the logical permutations of people on Reddit and elsewhere arguing about whether Twitter could stop harassment if they really wanted to. But it is different. Like being able to have an algorithm that specifically looks for incitements to certain acts is a different process than trying to identify harassment. Also, providing notification limits and turning on a quality filter is more about reducing spam than it is around harassment, though it could be used for that as well. But I don't think either of these stories really bear on Twitter's reputation for being a place where a bunch of jerks can talk to you.
Well, that's the question now for Twitter is I think the terrorism thing is about listen, we are in political season and this is a political press release. This is Twitter doing their job to fight the war on terrorism at the home front.
Yeah.
As for you're right. More so for the verified users, those spam account stuff was there just to clean up and make the newsfeed readable or your @replies readable. But I do think that there still is a long road for them to walk down, especially considering how fast they've been able to alert the IOC to whenever there's an offending post, or the IOC is you worked in concert with Twitter to protect their copyright. That there are better curation and reporting tools that
and that is also a different system. I mean, and we all complain about that system on YouTube where it tries to identify copyright and how bad it is. I wouldn't want them to use the same system they're using to pull down Olympic copyright stuff to fight harassment. It would be bad. That you need to come up with a tool specifically for that problem, and that is a different problem. Facebook announced Thursday it's working with game engine Unity to build its downloadable desktop gaming platform called the new Facebook PC gaming platform. Fancy name. If you don't understand, it means that this is a new Facebook PC gaming platform.
Not just a clever name.
Right, exactly. They used to call it the Facebook Games Arcade. They announced that back in May, but it's not called that. I guess Arcade didn't test well. I don't know. Anyway, the aim is to allow iOS and Android game makers to offer their games on the desktop, but it won't be limited to iOS and Android. They'll also allow non-mobile games, so maybe even some, PC games, like kind of a Steam competitor there. Game developers have until August 31st to apply for instant access to a limited alpha of a version of Unity 5.4 that lets them build and export games not only to this new desktop gaming app, but also to Facebook's website. So it's going to hit the normal Facebook gaming section as well at facebook.com.
Huh. So a Steam competitor, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Now, what would Facebook have to do with a larger, more robust video game curation and loading program? Well, they did invest in Oculus, right?
Right. That's that VR headset.
And what is Steam? Steam works with the VR.
It works with the HTC Vive.
Oh, and you run all of your games are found through Steam,
and Oculus works with Steam sometimes.
This is about our new segment.
Yeah, this is not on the face of it, obviously, an Oculus Play, right? This is on the face of it, Facebook saying, We used to make a lot more money on games than we did. So we really want to encourage those mobile developers who stopped building on our platform to build on our platform again. And I think all of that is true. But the fact that it also lays some pavement on a path that leads down towards the Oculus VR certainly doesn't hurt anything.
Well, listen, I mean, and Facebook has never been accused of letting an opportunity where they can build a clone for something pass them by, and they often build it, and if it fails, they abandon it. If it succeeds, they continue to double down on it. This is certainly a smart play for them to do. I am curious to see whether or not, as Facebook continues to evolve and grow, and listen, credit to them, because there are a lot of other companies that even we had a conversation earlier about Instagram that, like, maybe they're not. Maybe they're evolving in a different direction away from their product. Facebook has always looked for what could be the next step. This certainly, whether it be eventually for Oculus or just to have a different relationship with people to find and play games, I think is smart.
Making it easy for mobile developers to port their games over to Facebook.com. Dead simple. Yes, Facebook absolutely should do that, and it might work. It has a good chance of working. Then allowing those games to also be published to a new desktop app certainly would help publish that desktop app with or populate that desktop app with a bunch of games if they can get the developers to publish to Facebook.com. Getting us to then use that desktop app to game is the big question mark for me.
Well, and this is something that either they're going to make the deals for the AAA titles and compete on price, right? Or they are going to offer a fund and do what Steam has done, which is build a lot of their reputation on the rich, constant flow of indie games that, like, then tomorrow some amazing game can just pop up and takes everybody by storm. But especially when you look at where they've pushed live and they've wanted to do more and more in terms of like streaming video games and stuff like that, that maybe this is just a larger play for them into the video game ecosystem. The U.S. Department of Commerce announced that the Internet Assigned Numbers Authority, which operates the domain name system, will no longer be under U.S. supervision as of October 1st. They're moving out. ICANN, which has contracted with the DOC to oversee the IANA, will take full control over it under a multi-stakeholder model independent of any single country. ICANN will remain located in Los Angeles, which, for those of you keeping track at home, is in the United States.
In fact, it's right up the road. I pass by it when I go to the airport all the time. This is the end of a long process, a contentious process, but in the end, just makes what was reality reflect on paper. The Department of Commerce contracted ICANN to run IANA and didn't really do much else. That was about all the Department of Commerce did. The one time in recent memory where it made any kind of significant attempt to affect what ICANN was doing was when it tried to object to the .xxx domain, and ICANN sort of ignored what the Department of Commerce told them to do. So it really doesn't change anything. You certainly won't notice anything with the way the internet works or even the way you register domain names or anything like that. What this does is it takes that last vestige that someone could point to and say, well, technically, the Department of Commerce could rip the IANA away from ICANN at any point and take it back under its control, which it could have, and now it can't. It couldn't really have gotten away with it, even though it had the authority to do it in the past, and now it won't even have the authority. The tricky part was to make sure that you could have this sort of transition happen without some other organization or government getting undue influence over ICANN, and so far it looks like they have been able to achieve that.
So this is not, as one of the more irascible and, for my money, entertaining voices of the American media landscape, Matt Drudge, called the surrender of American internet?
I don't think so. I really, all respect to Mr. Drudge, I don't think this will change a single thing, because ICANN's not going to change the way it operates. ICANN has stood up to the Department of Commerce in the past anyway, and nobody else is getting undue influence that we can tell.
That's the biggest thing is for anybody who's kind of half following this story that have heard some of the other proposals that come under UN control. That is not happening. I think that would be a more problematic.
Oh, yeah. Russia, if this tells you anything, Russia, China, and Iran all really wanted it to go under UN control.
Yeah.
And it didn't.
It is now independent and located in the United States, which is probably about the same level of communication and authority that the United States had over it in general.
Yeah.
Right?
AMD will delay its 14-nanometer Zen CPU architecture until early 2017, but that's not the first sentence they want you to think of.
Oh.
Instead, they gave a big demo in San Francisco. Ars Technica reports that in that demo, they did some impressive stuff. One of the things they did was show that the Zen architecture with an 8-core, 16-thread Summit Ridge Zen CPU could outperform an HC16T Broadwell E CPU at the same clock speed. And this is not just Ars Technica. A lot of the different outlets are saying, yeah, it looked pretty good in the demo. AMD also confirmed that Zen will have a new cache memory hierarchy with 8 megabytes of L3 cache. Zen will be AMD's only x86 CPU architecture moving forward. They're collapsing it all into this one bet on 14 nanometer, but it's not coming by the end of this year like we thought.
What? No, sorry, man. I just blacked out as soon as you were reading those specs and talking about those demos. I didn't even hear that the fact that this is really just a fancy way of saying you're not going to get this for Christmas.
8 megabytes of L3 cache, beating the Broadwell. What? Yeah, just not till early 2017. So, a net positive. I'm going to call it a net positive for AMD because they impressed some pretty jaded reporters with this demonstration. And if that's what it takes to put out a really good chip, you have to delay it a little, then good. You should delay it rather than put out something subsatisfactory.
Well, and also, I mean, listen, this is about early 2017, which means it's not late 2016. Which
exactly.
Is not going to be there for the holiday season, which means they need to have this announcement now before it starts to become, oh, they're panicking or it's not ready or it's, it starts to bad reputation for its rollout.
Well, they also need to have it because the Intel Developer Forum is going on in San Francisco across the street.
Yeah.
So they want to have some competing news here, but it seems like legitimate news.
GGEZ.
Whoa, dude, we didn't even play Overwatch. Why are you doing that to me?
Calm down. Listen, this story will be our play of the game. GGEZ is a message that seems that some trollish Overwatch players have sent to taunt defeated opponents. It means good game, easy. Blizzard has started filtering on this phrase and will now replace it with one of the following quotes. Either, quote, I feel very, very small, please hold me, quote, it's past my bedtime, please don't tell my mommy, quote, I'm wrestling with some insecurity issues in my life, but thank you for playing with me.
I like that one.
Or, quote, I'm trying to be a nicer person. It's hard, but I'm trying, guys.
Okay, that last one is my favorite thing ever. The fact that Blizzard not only has identified a troll behavior and done something about it. They didn't just block it. They just didn't just make it so that GGEZ doesn't return anything. They've changed its meaning, and that last one is so good. It's like, here's a troll who's trying to be a nicer person, but it's hard. But he's trying.
This is a very, very fun story, and I was very excited to add it to the rundown. But this is certainly indicative of a larger cultural issue with Blizzard. They, not too long ago in Hearthstone, replaced the sorry emote because they don't have live chat unless you are friends with somebody in Hearthstone and you connect through the larger Blizzard communication portal. They don't have in-game chat. They don't have voice chat. What they have are 6 emotes. Of course, you should only use the hello if you are part of the Bonjour clique, #Bonj. However, if you used to be able to use sorry, and sorry used to be the troll emote. When you knew that the game was in hand, you would say sorry, right? When somebody wasn't able to win, you would say sorry. It was looked at as the most weaponous of the emotes. They changed that to wow, effectively defanging it so you could not hit somebody with a sarcastic sorry anymore. They've also took a lead position when one of their major tournaments, the DreamHack Austin, became subsumed with racist comments during the Twitch stream, which they said, hey, going forward, if tournaments are going to use our games, we are going to make sure that their presentations on Twitch are to our standards. We are going to take this seriously. Do you think that this is, I mean, this is very obviously a conscious trend for them. This is something that they want to affect the culture around their game in a proactive sense. Is this something that we'll see more of, or is this just kind of Blizzard sort of thinking ahead of the curve because they're Blizzard?
I think they're trying it out, and we will see how well it works. It's a bit of an arms race when you've got an open chat like this, because the people will stop using GGEZ, certainly, but what will they replace it with? And will Blizzard be able to stay on top of that and then replace those with other phrases in a way that effectively removes that? It's very entertaining to me, and part of me wonders, like, could Twitter implement something like this somehow, like, and just replace things, and how would that go down? And is that an interference with freedom of expression? But within the Blizzard game, you don't have the same standard of freedom of expression that you do in Twitter. So I don't think this is a bad thing for Blizzard to do. I don't know that they could keep it up over the long haul.
Well, but here's where I really love their solution. They made this fun. Yeah. I think people will use GGEZ more now because they're interested and excited to see which one they'll get and whether it'll be a fun element of their game. So that, I think, is very, very, very interesting. That they don't want to take something away. They don't just want to star it out. They don't just want to make it something that goes into the void. They want to now turn it into something that better players, more mature players of the game will want to use just because it's fun and silly.
Thanks to all those who participate in our subreddit. GG, just GG to all of you. Submit stories and vote on them at dailytechnewsshow.reddit.com, and you'll be right in there next to Abatuela Condolci, ICU, Steve I.O., another J. Martin, T-Glass 1976, AJC 87, Refuse to Speak, but he does post, and more. Get in there and vote. dailytechnewsshow.reddit.com. That's a look at the top stories. All right, so Bloomberg's Max Chafkin has a thorough write-up of Uber's plans. We alluded to them earlier. Later in August, Uber will apparently let customers in downtown Pittsburgh ride in self-driving cars. They will show up at random. They won't charge you since it's a test. Here's the key. A human will sit in the driver's seat with their hands on the wheel in order to comply with local law. Uber apparently has been testing since May on the road in Pittsburgh, so they're allowed to do that. And all they're doing is saying, we'll actually allow some passengers to jump in the test vehicles for free. A human will be in charge. So it's no different than the autopilot requirement. You have to have the fingers touching the wheel. They are modified Volvo XC90 SUVs. Volvo said they've shipped a few and they've got 100 due by the end of the year. It's part of a pact where Volvo and Uber are going to spend $300 million to try to have fully autonomous cars by 2021. So they're right there with Ford on that 5-year plan. Uber says we are not just going to be limited to Volvo. We're going to partner with all kinds of car manufacturers. We'll order some cars the way we are with Volvo. We also will modify some cars, retrofit them with self-driving tech as part of a deal to acquire Otto. Apparently in July, Uber agreed to buy Otto, O-T-T-O, and they closed that today. It is a truck startup that makes conversion kits, and now Uber plans long-haul trucking service, an Uber for long-haul trucking service by Uber. Another thing they get is Otto makes its own LiDAR, so they have some sensors can be built in-house now. And finally, they get a bunch of Google smarts because Otto was founded by Anthony Lewandowski, who spearheaded the creation of Google's self-driving car, and Lior Ron, former head of Google Maps. And Lewandowski's now been put in charge of Uber's self-driving technology project.
So what you're saying is that Yinz can get an Uber and go Dahntahn to the John Ogle to pick up some pop.
If you're Pittsburghian and you understand that, then yes, I suppose you could.
All right, so initially when we looked at this, we both sort of had the same reaction, that this is typical Uber kind of charging into a situation more about momentum than it is about forethought.
Ask for forgiveness, not for permission.
Now, that was before we realized that this was something that you had to have your hands on the wheel, and this is something that has already been happening for them in concert with Carnegie Mellon for a couple of years now, since they made that partnership with the renowned engineering institute.
I still have some questions of if I get randomly assigned to the self-driving car, can I turn it down? I'm going to assume I can.
Yeah.
And also, did they actually get the city of Pittsburgh to sign off on carrying passengers? I'm going to assume they didn't. And that's more Uber-like.
So then let's get into that, because what would it be? 7 years ago? When Uber was
Taught the band to play? Yeah.
It was thought to be inconceivable, especially in cities where they are very powerful, like Las Vegas, that laws regulating taxis and the influence that they have on certain localities could ever be weakened. And now we live in a world where, unless you are in a city where things get weirdly personal on a bureaucratic level, like Austin, Uber has effectively charged in and changed the game in a profound way, and especially in terms of local legislature.
Certainly in most parts of the world, China being an exception where they sold their unit to Didi. But even then, it was only because Didi was doing Uber's game better than Uber there. It's not because Uber's model failed.
And also breaking into China is a very difficult. There is no such thing as local government in China. It is just government, right? But could they be that kind of charge first, ask questions later, change agent for self-driving cars? Because that is something that is a huge issue, a huge issue for that entire realm of transportation. Is that right now, even in states where you would think it would be excited about it, like California's passed more restrictive legislation about self-driving cars over the last 2 years. Does Uber want to get into that business? Are they so itching for a fight that now they want to fight this battle?
Yeah, it will be interesting to see. I assume that because they have a very good relationship with Pittsburgh, partly because they're just pouring money into the area through hiring everyone from Carnegie Mellon and doing this kind of testing, that they won't have problems there. But where to next? What will be that next battle? And what is the effect of Uber sort of pointing out that, hey, Google's the old inflexible man on the block here. They stood around. They're still testing out in California. They let the state get away with restricting what they can do. Screw that. We're Uber, and we're just going to roll out our self-driving cars today. Now, that said, are they really? I mean, all they're doing, the bold thing they're doing is let passengers ride in their test cars. Google could do that tomorrow, possibly, if they wanted.
Well, they could.
I mean, there's a lot of hype here. They're not bringing self-driving cars to the road Uber style for everybody. It's randomly being assigned to a car that was already out there being tested.
The action here is not the story. The story is the actor. The story is Uber, because Uber does not do things lightly, right? When they roll in, they do it very, very forcefully and at times indelicately. They would rather rack up fines for what they see to be an unjust law and let people rise up and say, no, we love this, you should not kick it out, than just like very politely lobby and pay lobbyists to talk to people and say, well, you should really consider repealing this law and we'd move in tomorrow. They're like, no, we moved in 3 weeks ago. So how about you don't kick us out?
Yeah, and it's a way to grab your mind share and say, hey, when you think of self-driving cars, stop thinking about Google, start thinking about Uber, because we actually put people in self-driving cars before anybody else did.
Well, because also it's like, if Google does a self-driving car, what's the end game? That they spin off their own car company? Like,
right.
Is that the end game? Because like, okay, now when I think about Google's self-driving car beyond an engineering perspective, from a consumer's perspective, it's, well, all right, do I hope I buy a Google car? Maybe. I don't know. We'll see down the road when that becomes a reality. If Uber's doing this, then I live in Oakland. Like, they're building a gigantic Uber headquarters, a walking distance from my house. The idea that I could get in a self-driving Uber is a real one. And if they're testing it in Pennsylvania, then it's only a matter of them figuring out whether or not they want to rack up, fines in California before they launch it here. So that is what's exciting, is that the future feels closer when Uber is doing it because they have a use for it.
And the other thing that you brought up, which I think is important to note, Google might want to make its own car. We're not sure. It seems like maybe they do. Apple, obviously very much rumored to want to make its own car. Uber is very clearly saying, we don't really want to make cars at all. We'll retrofit them. That's about as far as we want to go. We want to partner with not only Volvo, but every other manufacturer out there who wants to come in and join us. And Ford earlier this week announcing we're going to have self-driving cars, fully autonomous, level 4 self-driving cars by 2021. Volvo has Pilot Assist 2, which will become available in Volvo's new vehicles next year. That does all the steering and braking at speeds up to 80 miles an hour, so similar to autopilot. It comes standard in Volvo's S90 and be available on the XC90. They're building base vehicles for Uber that will be in 2017 in select cities in Volvo's own pilot program called Drive Me. So they're getting into the self-driving system themselves in a different way. And by 2020, they say the IntelliSafe autopilot will enable the car to drive without driver supervision. So that level 4 autonomy that Ford is talking about, they're talking about getting there a year earlier. So what we're seeing is Uber saying, hey, we know all you car companies realize that you need to get in on this game early on. We'd like to help you with that rather than compete with you.
And that's where Uber comes in. Because right now, Volvo can make something where you can sleep on your way to work, right? It's illegal right now. Right now, you cannot run that vehicle. That is not street legal. If you are sleeping in your car, if you are screwing around without your hands on the wheel, you can get pulled over. Like, that is just a fact. If Uber wants to get in the business of being the righteous hammer of moving this forward, because again, Uber's got a stake in this. Because right now, they're actually making money, unlike other ride-sharing companies, on each ride. It's not a lot, and they have to run a lot of them, and that's why they're obsessed with getting their capacity up. But them running a self-driving car means that they are more profitable than they are now as the fastest-growing company in history, which is something that they are very, very, very excited to get to. Even as they run national ads about how great it is to drive for Uber. They want to replace you.
Yeah, it's great to drive for us while we let you, is the subtext there.
Exactly.
I'm honest, I'm still skeptical. I was skeptical when Ford announced it. I'm skeptical that you can have a truly level 4 autonomous car out there on the roads by 2021, even with restricted areas, even with restricted maps. Volvo thinks they can do it in 4 years. I'm all eyes. I can't wait to see it. That's all I got to say. Our pick of the day comes from Trenton in Alabama, who's trying to track down a charging problem with his G4 phone and stumbled across Ampere, an app that he says is as good and simple real-time battery monitor as I could find. Gives you the charging speed, phone temperature, and other data that could be helpful in troubleshooting. You can find it on the Google Play Store. It's got thousands of reviews and 4.5 stars, so it seems to be the experience of a lot of other people besides Trenton. If you're looking for a battery manager, or battery monitor, check it out. It's called Ampere, just like amps, Ampere.
Yeah, that's great. Like, you gotta love those simple apps.
Yeah, just give me the info. Send your picks to us, folks. Feedback at dailytechnewsshow.com. You can find more picks at dailytechnewsshow.com/picks. Lots of excellent response to the idea of losing a headphone jack that Scott and I talked about yesterday. Here's a representative sample. Gary the Senior Geek says, you kids need to catch up and adopt new technologies faster. It's not actually his words, but he's not going to be bothered by the loss of a headphone jack at all. He says, I'm currently using the Away A9200 BLS Bluetooth headset. It's about $20 on Amazon. When I'm out walking at lunch, I don't have to manage a headphone cord. And at home, I can put my phone on a charger in the family room and listen while working in the kitchen while it's charging completely untethered. I think it's time for folks to come over to the blue side of the force and embrace Bluetooth. You'll never miss your analog headphone jack, he says. Bishma added that getting rid of the jack, the DAC, and the amplifier in a foam gives more room for the battery, so you guys might like the extended battery life. NP Gunner doesn't understand why manufacturers don't just make USB-C and mini jack headphones available at the same time and just see how the market responds. I'll tell you why I think that is in a second, NP Gunner. And then finally, Mike in Steamy DC says, what happens when I buy headphones with USB-C and we all move to USB-D, or Apple comes up with a whole new proprietary port?
Well, I mean, what happens when it rains, man? Like, of course it'll happen, and of course it's going to just be the way the world works. Like,
Right. And well, that's the beauty of the headphone jack is it's been the same for decades, right? And so here we go, and we're going to take that audio input and turn it into something that is more like the other inputs that we've had to get used to changing all the time. Not the end of the world. I do say that why manufacturers don't just make both USB-C and mini jack headphones available is they have them right now. And if they want to get you to buy those USB-C headphones, they're going to have to take away the mini jack port because I don't think anyone would buy them on purpose.
yeah, I mean, I'm not super sold on all the amazing things you can do with the USB-C connection. I do believe that the future is Bluetooth. You know, I use a Bluetooth set of headphones for running. I really like them. I think connection-wise that, the latest protocols have made it a lot easier and simpler and more automatic. I think that's really just what we are leading toward is just better, longer lasting, easier connecting Bluetooth headphones. Like, and if anything, I long for a time, and I dare say I would even pay a little bit more for my next iPhone if Apple just did their own set that came with the phone. I'd pay for the Bluetooth edition.
Yeah. And honestly, if I don't think that's what they'll do. I think they'll package in a USB-C headphone. But if they get rid of the headphone jack, they're going to have to pack in something for you to use. And that's what people will end up using. The things that I need Bluetooth to do before I can become Gary is I need them to improve the battery life, which they're getting way better at. Yeah. I don't like to have to think about charging my Bluetooth headphones, but frankly, the ones I have, and I use them every day to run, I only have to charge once a week. So that's getting better. I'd like that to get even better, but that's getting better. The other thing is I can take my headphones and plug them into anything I need to. I can't do that very easily with Bluetooth. I mean, even if stuff has Bluetooth, you have to go and you have to repair and all of that sort of thing. And that's a pain in the ass.
Yeah, I think that's just something that we're all just gonna have to get used to. I mean,
I think Bluetooth could make it easier to do that somehow, but that's a design down the road that they're not focusing.
With Bluetooth right now is that the best versions of it, the latest versions of it, are great at pairing once and remembering forever. As soon as you interrupt that on any level, we get back to all the like, I don't know, maybe it's this, maybe it's that. It's trying to pair with two different things. It's playing in the middle of it playing on one thing. Now it's playing from this other thing that's trying to find it. So I don't know. I mean, certainly we can all dare to dream of a world where Bluetooth is easily paired with many devices, but I think that might be a bridge too far.
Yeah, my wife's car has Bluetooth in it, and it's always frustrating to her when I get in the car as a passenger because it will pick up my phone because the passenger is actually a little nearer to the sensor, and so all of a sudden 2x speed angry chicken in the instance starts coming over speakers instead of the hot Spotify playlist that she wanted to listen to.
So hot.
Scott wrote in, Scott aka CDN Dude 74 aka a Canadian dude. I always thought CDN Dude meant Content Delivery Network. Maybe it's both. Anyway, Scott says, when you close out the news section, you always mention the subreddit and tell folks to get out there and submit articles and don't forget to vote. But I think it's equally as important to comment as well. There are rarely comments to most of the stories posted, but I always enjoy reading other people's insights, anecdotes, jokes, etc. to particular stories. I know my own viewpoint and yours if the story gets airtime on the podcast, but it'd be nice to have more people comment as well as posting and voting.
I think that's great. The DTNS listenership, and I've been very, very blessed to be able to go around the country and meet so many people that listen to DTNS. They are amazing, varied, super smart people. I think that's a great idea. Feel free to interject your own hot takes into those Reddit comments because they're always very good.
Yeah, T-Glass is always trying to get people to discuss things as well, so he would love that. Get in there and discuss. And if Reddit's not your thing, you can discuss on the blog, dailytechnewsshow.com as well. We have people commenting there. You can always look over there to find some discussion. Thank you, Justin Robert Young, for joining us. Of course, what do you got going on these days?
Well, hey, I just launched a new set of stickers on Stickers or DIAF. People were saying on TMS that I don't pronounce it well enough. So it is Stickers or which is, of course, the internet acronym for Die in a Fire. You can get your pack for $5. They are all drawings by Carter Johnson, and they are all of our communal Diamond Club logo in so many different amazing forms. Spaceman, desert cowboy cactus, a fun little dinosaur, a hippie bus, and so much more. Go ahead and check it out. Stickers or DIAF.com.
And this show is powered entirely by you, the listener. If you're willing to keep the show going, check out dailytechnewsshow.com/support. Thank a boss, buy a mug, tell a friend. All the ways to support the show, if you're willing, are at dailytechnewsshow.com/support. Huge thanks to the people who support us already. You guys are the best. If you want just the headlines of the day in less than 10 minutes, subscribe to the Daily Tech Headlines at dailytechheadlines.com. Our email address is feedback@dailytechnewsshow.com. The show's live Monday through Friday, 4:30 p.m. Eastern at diamondclub.tv, at alphageekradio.com, and our website is dailytechnewsshow.com. Back tomorrow with Darren Kitchen and Len Peralta. Talk to you then.
This show is part of the Frog Pants Network. Get more at frogpants.com.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.
Ah, the lovely construction site I live in.
Boom.
Ah, it was a good episode, though.
Yeah, it was fun.
Good talks.
Good talks.
What?
Cool beans. Well, I'm glad everybody. I want to hear. Crap, I didn't.
Can you hear me now?
Oh, hello, Roger.
Well, hello.
Man,
So
this thing
there
is
you
just
are.
Jekyll and Hyde or Heckle and Jekyll.
Oh,
All right. Top, we got There's No Crying in the Hearthstone. Not sure where that came from. Unlimited Confusion, Unlimited Bait and Switch. Ha ha ha. ICANN moves from America to LA. Screw You says Uber with umlauts. Oh, I hear that jackhammer. The new Facebook PC gaming platform is the new Facebook PC gaming platform. Let my domains go.
let my domains go.
Was Tom Uber wrong about Ford?
That's too long, though.
It's not that long. I kind of like it.
Was Tom Uber? But it's also not what the episode's about.
No, it's not the focus of the episode. That's true. That's true.
Well, I mean,
Screw you, says Uber with the umlauts. Now I get it. Okay.
Yeah.
Now I'm looking at it. It's funnier. GG trolls.
yeah, nothing here grabs me by the my non-existent lapels.
That's because you need to put on some lapels.
Uberhaul is der Untergang of trucking. Would you like to Uber a Ford today?
Have you
Or like-
Ubered a Ford lately?
See, that would be funnier. Have you Ubered a Ford lately?
But then that doesn't bring in the self-driving, does it?
Self-driving.
There's no crying in Hearthstone. Unlimited in quotes is pretty good, too.
Seems like Pitts Uber, like instead of Pittsburgh.
What did you say when we first started the conversation?
Oh yeah, no, yeah. Yin's gonna take an Uber Dahntahn to the John Ogle, pick up some pop. I still got something in the wash.
Yeah, oh, Warsh. We say Warsh in Southern Illinois too. Love that. How do you spell Gawon?
Well, no. All right, so it's Yinz.
Y-I-N-Z.
Y-I-N-Z.
Okay.
John Ogle. That's Giant Eagle.
No. Yin's going. How do you?
Yo, oh, just oh, I don't know.
Goin.
Yeah, GOWN.
Dahntahn.
Yeah,
Donton.
Dahntahn. So DAHNTAHN.
Yeah, I like this. Yinz going Uber Dahntahn, right? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
What if we just do that? Yinz going Uber Dahntahn?
Yin's gone. Oh man, I think we're gonna test the limits of my Yinzer card.
Or would it be GOIN?
Yeah, I think GOIN probably makes more sense.
And then Dahntahn like that. Yeah, yeah. We have any other Yinzers in the audience who can check that? Oh, GAHN.
Yeah, Gahn Uber. Yeah, Gahn Uber Dahntahn.
There we go. Sounds like Klingon, says Shane. Well,
By the
my
way,
grandma said Ewans, and we all said Warsh and Washington.
Warsh.
So we were on the edge of that dialect. It seems like not Yins though, Ewans.
Wait, what's Yinz for?
You all.
yeah, it's the Pittsburgh y'all.
You all. Y'all. To
Ewans.
Yinz.
Yeah, my grandma would say Ewans.
My grandmother didn't say
Wow,
that.
wait, hold on. Yik Yak's not anonymous anymore?
It's anonymous by choice, not by default. Like you can choose not to be anonymous now. That's how I understand it.
All right, I got a vamonos.
All right, thank you, Roger.
I'll see you guys. Oh, you're here. Is there?
All right.
Yeah, so I have you pretty much lined up for those 2 weeks that you're helping out. You have Veronica on the Monday, and then the following week you are on the Thursday, Friday. Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you're only doing the one. You're doing the one Monday, the week of the 29th. I probably shouldn't be talking about this, but
No, it's fine.
yeah, I just need to confirm Scott Moulton on the 8th. Hopefully he'll get back to me at some point. Cool. Grazie.
Awesome.
All right.
Awesome.
All right. I'll talk to you guys mañana. Or at least Tom. I'll talk to you luego.
Asta.
All right. Catch you later.
All right, bye.
Bye.
Yin's going to the dentist. That is, in fact, where he's going. I am exporting. Yeah, I like the dialect headline.
Yeah.
Always good for a cheap bit of applause from the locals.
Yeah, hopefully. I don't know. I feel like Pittsburghers in general, they have a real good nature on their unique verbiage. They're very proud of the Yinzerology.
Yeah.
So hopefully.
Should I put little Go Steelers in the meta tags or something?
Here we go, Steelers. Yeah. When asked for comment, local politicians responded with, "Here we go, Steelers."
Here we go.
F. Ray Lewis.
It's always sunny in Philadelphia. What is it in Pittsburgh?
It's always angry about the Philadelphia Flyers. Did you get Karazhan yet?
No.
Pretty fun.
I need to do that. Maybe I'll do that right now. I didn't pre-order it. I tried to pre-order it and it wasn't available, and I forgot to go back. Am I screwed?
Wait, what?
I didn't pre-order it.
Oh, I don't know.
So do I lose the pre-order benefits? I love these adventures, though. League of Explorers is already purchased. Pay now.
Gawker learning the lesson that wrestlers have known for 30 years. You simply don't win against Hulk Hogan. You will always go over.
Especially when he's got Peter Thiel on his side.
Oh, dude. Yeah, the surprise tag team partner.
Right?
Who's the third man?
It was Peter Thiel the whole time.
All right, buddy. I'll talk to you later.
All right, man.
All right, bye.
Take care. Well, that's it for today's broadcast. Thank you all for participating. We'll see you tomorrow.